Welcome back to the county seat. Our topic today is the Jordan River Parkway. Salt Lake County is proposing and has in the works a $47 million bond to connect the Parley's Recreation Corridor, the Bonneville Shoreline Trail, and the Jordan River Parkway into a non-motorized corridor of transportation running throughout Salt Lake County. Joining us for the discussion is Juan Arce Loretta, the chair of the Parley's Trails Coalition. The Public Information Officer for Salt Lake County Parks and Recreation, Martin Jensen, and Mayor Peter Caroon, Mayor of Salt Lake County. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us for the show today. Juan, let's start with you. Okay, you're the outsider. You've got a coalition that supports this. You know, what do you see in this new project? What's going to be accomplished if this bond issue passes?
Well, the number one thing that will be accomplished is a long-term solution to transportation that didn't exist before. This will allow trail users, walkers, rollerbladers, you name it, to travel a number of corridors without getting in their vehicles. Health is always an issue. This will provide an opportunity for the residents of Salt Lake County and beyond to get out and recreate, travel to do shopping, travel to work, etc. So with no foreseeable funding sources available to complete these gaps in these trails, the county bond is the real viable opportunity, and the timing couldn't be better right now.
Let's talk about the Parley's Corridor. Now, most people that live in Salt Lake County, people watching around the state may not get this, but there already is a fairly well-developed area in the large Parley Canyon area that was created basically when the old highway left the stream bed and they put the freeway up along the side, and it left a pretty big undeveloped hole. The county seized that opportunity and built a good trail system up there. And does that already tie into the Bonneville Shoreline Trail?
It does, and it was no small task either. It took at least a decade, if not more, to even make that link. Volunteers, agencies, securing funding. It's been a long-term project, and certainly the progression of it is critical to linking that Bonneville Shoreline Trail west to the, and I like to call it the Provo-Jordan River Parkway because there's a much larger vision for these regional trails.
Okay, but in making that critical link, and I think that will probably supersede the efforts that Cottonwood Heights and Holiday have made of kind of having a trail through there. This would be a much more major intersection. But the question is, it makes sense to Sugar House Park, but from Sugar House Park to the Jordan River Parkway, how are you going to do it?
Well, we've worked, like I say, with the partners that we need to work with. We've reached out to partners such as UTA, UDOT, Salt Lake City, certainly Salt Lake County and South Salt Lake. We've met with business owners, residents who it might affect. We've had open houses to make sure that when we use the corridors that we've identified, it will not affect them negatively and that they are on board with these projects. So the vision is that once it reaches Sugar House Park, there's a project called the Draw at Sugar House, which should be happening within 6 months, we hope. The bids should be out in 6 months, which will take us underneath 1300 East. We'll then use the Sugar House Streetcar corridor to go along the rail there down to the Jordan River. And in fact, some trail already exists where the West Valley Tracks line goes over Roper Yard.
Okay, and that's my question for you, Martin. What is the footprint of this corridor exactly? We've gotten it under 13th East. I know that it kind of basically picks up, but where does this corridor for the streetcar run?
Well, it runs through Sugar House Park or through the Sugar House neighborhood. It'll follow the rail corridor that is going in, the streetcar corridor across State Street, and then eventually it will connect into the Jordan River Parkway. As Juan was saying, that one of our biggest obstacles was getting over the rail yard and Roper Yard, and through our partnership with UTA, we've already been able to construct a bridge that we can tie into. And so if the park bond is approved, we'll be able to complete that section, and there will be a main east-west connection in the valley, which there isn't right now.
Has there been a lot of political fallout on this? Has there been any real resistance to it, Mayor Caroon?
There's been a little resistance, but for the most part, people are supportive of parks and trails, and they realize that this is a government function. While it's $47 million per household, on the average household is $5.73 per year. I say it's less than the cost of a movie or even the bucket of popcorn you buy at the movie.
It's a lot healthier for you, too.
And a lot healthier for you, too. So with $47 million or $5 to $6 a year, you're going to get the completion of the Jordan River Trail, the completion of the Parleys Trail, 3 new regional parks in Draper, Bluffdale, and West Valley Kearns area, and then we're going to purchase 60 acres in the Magna area. So it really does create a regional park system and trail system.
Okay, now that one kind of, the Draper, Bluffdale areas, to say, okay, that's kind of on the corridor, and the Magna thing kind of throws me for a loop. Are you going to actually build a connector trail? Is that the long-term idea, is to take a Magna park and build a connector trail into
Well, it's not necessarily the trail into the system, although there could be, but completing these regional parks, and we don't have them on the west side or the south side of the valley. You know, the population growth traditionally was in the north and the east, and so that's where we put our regional parks. And now in the western and southern parts of the valley, there's been a lot of the growth, so we need these regional parks, these Sugar House, Dimpledale type parks that the community can use for fields, for natural
so
open
basically
space.
the $47 million isn't all just for us that like to rollerblade and bike and jog?
No, it's for soccer, lacrosse, walking, whatever you'd like to do outdoors, it can be done with this bond.
Very good. So another question. Let's talk about the little bit bigger picture, because Juan, you kind of alluded to a Ogden to Provo corridor based off of the, I guess, the start with the Jordan River. How do you get into that Weber Canyon to the north?
Well, you would be surprised if you took a quick look at just how extensive trails already are. This foundation for the Provo Jordan River Parkway has existed for decades, and they've been working for decades to establish these trails that go all the way up Provo Canyon, up by Soldier Hollow. The trail would link into the rail trail up by Park City and Colville, come back around through other cities that have trails, and down by Morgan, down Weber Canyon, and there are extensive trails in Davis County and Weber County already. So there are what's that?
As you say, Weber Canyon already has a lot of press for the resources, because it's got a railroad, a freeway, and a river running through it.
Well, there's no doubt that trails groups like Pratt run into real hurdles and obstacles, and we don't believe that we say we can't do it. We believe that we can do it, and we will.
On the Wasatch Front side, though, what's already in place? I mean, how do you get, I know that Legacy, when they put the freeway section in, Legacy has a path, because I've been on it.
Yes.
Yeah,
How do you get from the state park at the end of the Jordan River over to there, and what lies beyond that that's already in place?
You know, on Sunday, I actually biked that entire corridor from Center Street in North Salt Lake all the way to the Fair Park. So it exists. It's paved already. Yep. Yeah. And once you finish at the end of the Legacy Parkway up by Lagoon, you can jog a little bit to the east or west and connect to a rail-to-trail that goes all the way up into Roy. And it exists. It's paved as well. So truly, it's maybe as simple as educating the public of what actually exists, because it's there.
All right. Well, we have a good start to this conversation. We've looked at basically the scope and the potential scope of the project. We've looked at specifically Salt Lake County. When we come back from our commercial break, we are going to turn our attention to actually the bond, the challenges of putting a bond issue out for election, and information that needs to get across to the voters. So stay with us. We will be back with more of the county seat, and we'll see you after a commercial break.
Ignition sequence start. Engines on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Launch commit. Liftoff. We have liftoff. 3 minutes past the hour.
I didn't order this.
Compliments of the lady in gold.
Hello, trouble.
Anything worth doing in this quiet little town?
You look like the kind of man that could show a girl a good time.
You strike me as the kind of girl that likes a manicure and a massage.
How's that for a manicure?
I hate golf.
I was hoping for something a little more vigorous.
Vigorous, I can do.
And I thought you'd be riding side saddle.
What? that manicure.
There aren't a lot of places in this world where you can feel truly free and wild, where the horizon invites you to set off on adventure. In Tooele County, you'll find just that. Explore the Benson Grist Mill and step back in time. Find yourself on a trek through our canyons. Tooele County. Experience endless horizons.